live, Mayor.
We're good? All right. Go ahead and call the work session to order.
Okay. Commissioner Donnie Carter.
Here.
Commissioner Nina Forsythe.
Here.
Commissioner Kevin Grove.
Here.
Commissioner Adam Ritchie.
Here.
And Mayor Todd Wilkerson.
Present. Okay, we'll move into item 3 on the agenda, which is old business. Looks like Bethany will be first for the Historic District.
Yep, if it's okay with all of you, I'll just knock out A and B at the same time. So item A is a Historic District Commission reappointment. Bill Detterman has served on that commission for a long time, and his commission is expiring soon, and he's indicated a desire to renew for another 3-year term. And then moving into item B, we have 2 Board of Zoning Appeals commissioners whose terms have expired, and they expressed an interest in serving for another 2 years. I believe their terms are 2 years. No, I'm sorry, 3 years.
3 years.
3-year term, sorry about that. So if you all are okay with that, then I'll be asking for a resolution at next week's meeting. Oh, I have C as well. Okay, so this annual report, the Maryland Department of Planning requires that each municipality submit this report of new residential permits that are issued. So that would be single family, and I don't think that they count multifamily in that. So, that's okay. So the Planning Commission typically approves this at their meeting. They're reviewing this tomorrow, so they have not reviewed this yet, but by the time this comes to you next week, I expect that this will be approved. So this report shows that I believe it said 6 single-family new construction permits were issued in calendar year 2023. So we just report that number to MDP, but they require that the Planning Commission approve it and that the Mayor and Council approve it.
What time is the planning commission meeting?
7 o'clock.
And it's live streamed, right?
Yes, yes it is.
You can sit in for me if you want to.
I have another thing going on at the same
I'm
time, but I
kidding.
think Rob can probably attend. There's something in our neighborhood that's being turned into.
That is a
garage.
Board of Zoning Appeals public hearing. That is also tomorrow, and that's at 5:30.
Oh, okay, 5:30.
Yes.
That's right, was in appeals.
Yep.
That one I can actually
Oh, good. I saw it.
And we meet again tomorrow to finalize the plan.
Okay, great. Okay, that's all
So
I have.
that's a resolution, right?
Yes, that will be a
Okay.
resolution.
So that would be a resolution at your meeting that you approve that report
Just to accept the report. Okay.
and submit it to MDE.
Okay.
MDP,
Yep.
sorry.
Very close. One of the
All
Maryland
these
departments.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
That's it?
That's all I have.
Okay, next thing, item D. That looks like that's Hayden, a change order.
Yep, so it's a proposed change order for Phase 10A of the CSO job. Right now, the plan for the CSO, just to keep it short and sweet, is to reline a section of sewer that runs through the swamp/wetland below Mountain Ridge High School. We found out we can do it actually by staying out of the swamp, and instead of relining the existing line, we can just run a brand new line through a right-of-way we have kind of below all those houses. In my opinion, this will be better because in the instance that we have to maintain those pipes in the future, we're not going into the swamp. It's also going to give us, at face so far, about a $22,000, $23,000 credit because it'll end up being cheaper than the lining work. Now, bear in mind, there's other change orders that have to come in for this project, so this credit will go towards those change orders down the road. We had to do some emergency sewer repairs on like Pearson's Alley, but this change order actually ends up being a positive for us, I think, in terms of the engineering and the cost. So next week,
And the existing pipe will just remain where it is?
yep, we'll just block the ends of it, block the other end of it, and it'll remain in place. That way we don't have to get into the swamp, the wetland.
Well, you wouldn't have to anyways, because
Yeah.
if, you get in.
That
Yeah.
pipe's pretty deteriorated too, you know. So
So
this is
will
gonna
will
be a
that cause
better
a problem in
solution.
the future, the deterioration of the pipe?
Well,
Just
by the lining works by just kind of shoving a sleeve through the pipe.
Right, yeah.
Which is all well and good, it keeps it sealed, but if the pipe already has a belly in it like that, then that would be your future issue. So, in my opinion, by running new pipe, we get away from
Is it
But leaving-
ductile iron?
the existing pipe, it's all terracotta.
Oh,
So then it would
it
just,
just
yeah,
turns into earth.
yeah, okay, that's good.
So I would ask for that next week. Item E, bid award paving project 2024. We had 5 bidders, yeah, 5.
Sorry, it's sideways.
The range of bids was from 154,000 all the way up to, I believe, 218. The average being about 185. The low bidder, as of now, is Ameriseal Paving and Contracting. They came in at 154, I believe 280. That's a lump sum contract, so we've spoken with them and said there will be no change orders to the paving contract this year. You, as the contractor, take the onus of responsibility for understanding what's going to go into paving those roads. These are the roads we want to see milled and paved. You're telling me that's the value we can pave them at. If anyone wants kind of a list of the streets, I can go into it. It's kind of one in every part of town that we're not going to get done through projects in the next 3 years. The thing to remember too, if anybody asks you like, hey, why aren't they paving in this area or this area? 9 times out of 10, it's because we're going to hit it with a CSO in the next 2 years, or Columbia Gas is going to hit it in the next 2 years. So these streets were picked because we've done the work that we need to do in there, and the ground shouldn't be touched for at least 10 years. So I would just ask for a motion in a second next week to approve the low bidder so I can get them started. Unless there's any questions.
And most of the gas is gonna be, that'll be on the west side, so
Yeah.
we're not touching that right
Yep.
My street.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Next one, item F, change order for the Mechanic Street parking lot. This, on the original designs from BD&A, there was a section of sidewalk on the Mechanic Street side that was supposed to be left there. We were going to save it and try and work around it. In the process of demoing, we figured out 2 things: that 1, really wasn't worth saving, and 2, the more important part is that it couldn't match any of the grades that we needed to make happen. So we had to just push ahead and tear that section out. So obviously we're going to have to put back new concrete. I think that number came out to 70,000, correct?
7949.
7940. So that would come out of the ARPA project budget for that, or an ARPA addition for that. If anyone wants to talk about that, by all means, we can go over it. If anybody wants to look at it in the field, we can look at it. But we had to do it. So next week I would ask for a motion in a second on that one. So if anything, it'll make the parking lot look more full anyways. So if there's no questions, that is really all I had. So
Okay, good. The next item Lydia's going to discuss. Yeah, thank you.
So we were awarded community development block grant funding for the 2 projects listed there, the Frostbrook Child Development Center and the raw water dam relining. As a condition of the grant, we have to conduct 2 public hearings, one before we apply for the money, and then a second whenever the project's underway, just to provide an update on those. So we will be doing the required public hearing. It was advertised yesterday in the paper, and we'll get the narrative prepared for next Tuesday.
Okay. That's all we have under old business then. We'll move on to new business. Item 4A is discussion about the parking situation. It says Commissioner Carter.
now. I mean, you all, we've discussed this a little bit outside with Nick and them, but I just think we need to sit down and get a plan together, because it's a nightmare out there right now. I mean, we've got whole blocks that are 20 minutes. We've got half a block that's 20 minutes, half a block's 2 hours. Nobody knows what anything's going on. If we don't have a plan for enforcement, when we put this into place, I mean, you hear me almost every day, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the same vehicle parked in the same spot for 12 hours a day in front of my business. So
Yes.
I mean, and I think we need a little bit more discussion before we go and move things around. I was telling Elizabeth right before the meeting, you know, if we're gonna leave the meters there, maybe we paint a couple of the meters that are gonna be the 20-minute meters a different color.
Yeah.
Maybe put some signs up saying such and such meters are 2 hours, instead of having 50 signs up and down Main Street, which we don't need any more signs, just a couple here and there that say, here's the breakdown of what's going on, you know, or I'd even suggested little stickers to go around the post or something that say the 2 hour here. But I think I'd like us to have a few more discussions as things move forward with this, because I've talked to a couple other business owners who they're in the same situation as I am. They don't understand what in the world's going on either. So
And I think another thing too, and Hayden talked about this, the state did say that they would paint the dividing lines between the spots too. So I think
Yeah.
that is something we should move forward with
Yeah.
too. You know.
The signs are crucial for enforcement. I mean, we don't have so much involvement in planning what spaces are 2 hours. To the police department, we really have nothing in that, but in terms of enforcement, we would want to see the signs consistent with what the text on the meters says, so we don't write people tickets that are questionable. We certainly don't want that, and we don't want to get to court and have the judge say, well, this sign says 20 minutes, the meter says 2 hours, so we really need to be very...
So we need to get it organized.
We need to get the signage consistent, organized,
Well,
and...
and to the chief's point, we had sort of an informal discussion earlier today about the possibility of you might have a cadet that's coming through that
Yes,
could do that.
we'd like to talk about that here whenever you're ready for us, Commissioner Grove and I, but actually it wasn't really planned this way, but our new camera system downtown is amazing. It's just fantastic. So in reality, if we have signs up that are in line with what the meters say, I think we have a good enforceable situation. Our cadet, provided you would approve us to do that, could potentially monitor that, and basically an officer could review it and sign off on it. But I think it would be very easy. All we really need is tag numbers. Right now, I mean, the old way is, say you go pre-camera days, you know, the officer would go chalk the tire. You're not really supposed to do that. Some federal courts and other jurisdictions have said that's unconstitutional until they've committed a violation. They said, well, now you can take pictures and all this stuff. Long story short is now we have the cameras. There are no loopholes where somebody can say, oh, I left for a little while and came back. You know, you don't have those loopholes for courts. You have good, clear, consistent signage. You have good video evidence, and you have solid enforceability with tickets that we can back up and not fall through in court, or just, you know, from a moral and ethical standpoint, making sure it's all solid. So that's what I would like to see for enforcement. And as the mayor said, the cadet could potentially help us a lot. All it really takes with modern technology is the time to sit there and look at the cameras. One thing that makes it kind of hard is when we talked to Oakland and Bedford about parking, they both said that frankly, business owners played a role in it, because you get into such conflicts. It really is parking wars in the small city of Frostburg. You know, you write tickets, and one business is mad for writing tickets. You don't, another business is mad for not. And we're going to enforce the law regardless, but we want to make sure that we're doing what the policy of the mayor and council is. We want to make sure we're carrying out what you really want us to do ultimately, to set the standard, and we'll take care of business. But on our end, clear signage, good camera footage, the help, I think, will be very easy.
Any estimate as to when all that would be in place with getting the meters marked and the signage up?
My understanding is State Highway had to approve the downtown signs, which was
They kind of gave us a blanket approval, so.
good.
We should be good to change around.
Good. So and I now understand from talking to you and Elizabeth that the city actually installed the signs once the state approved it. So I would recommend as soon as the signs are in place, that's no problem. If you look at the meters, I think inside they say 2-hour limit or something. So if we're going to have 20-minute spaces, we want to take that out or cover it up, have a sticker on the meter or a wrap or something. The signage right now does look ambiguous. I think that would definitely want to be changed.
So then for my part, I just want you guys to tell me, where do we want 20-minute spots? Where do we want handicap, and where is it 2 hours? Because I'm going to tell my guys exactly where to put it.
Well, I think they're, and you're getting to the point, but I think that's the problem. I think they went around and asked people where they wanted spots, and everybody was under the impression that, hey, this is gonna be a 20-minute spot, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
there was just shit thrown
Hey.
up all over the place.
Hayden, what I'd suggest is if you and Donnie could get together this week, Emily and Jamie have the map or the diagram put together. And
Well, what you have to remember is we have 50 different people who wanted 50 different things.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to hear it where we want the signs.
well,
Yeah, my suggestion on the 20-minute zone would be to put them on the corners, for instance, in front of the Legion, that first spot, because then the UPS truck or truck can pull in there, which is what it's designed for, and they always have room
They can do
in
the
front.
read,
Or for
like a
instance,
carrier.
where the bookstore is, the first meter there, then they have all that area in front to get in and get out, and we could go through every place
Like
and look.
pet ones, that would be a
Pet one,
20-minute.
one right down there. Yeah.
I think we need to, kind of look at what business is there. Like, if you're going in for a dinner, 20 minutes is not gonna be enough time,
Right.
So I think that's kind of how we have to.
Yeah, I
Well, and
think
specifically, we called them 20-minute zones, but I would be more inclined that they were load, unload zones.
Sort of.
Yeah. I would also, I was just saying, I'll also plan to line it up with the delineated marks as well. So that's a defined spot
Yeah.
for that.
How about the handicap spots? Where do you think those should be?
I mean, with everything being free, I guess, I don't know, are there,
So
how many
there's-
handicap spots are out there right now? I don't know that there's,
One?
there's one by request in front of the doctor's office
Yeah.
on 7-Eleven.
That's actually the one I can think of.
Did we ever hear anything back?
We usually have only done them by request.
that's what I was gonna say, I don't remember seeing a whole lot
So
of
I'm
that.
not trying to bring up calls out of the doctor's office, trying to get to handicap spots there. And I never,
The parking lot, or
Yes.
the open gravel?
yes, never heard anything back about it. Yeah, because we were trying to get some more handicap spots, down towards, the lower end there, but haven't heard anything back about that yet. So,
We can add more. To my knowledge, it hasn't been an issue.
well, maybe, put one kind of in the middle, one at the top, one towards the bottom, maybe, spread them out. Maybe that way there's, one kind of in each area.
It's, part of it's difficult too because Main Street itself isn't accessible. So then you're putting a accessible spot on a street that's too steep to even be
Yeah.
deemed accessible.
Right, yeah.
So,
It seems like it's been okay so far without the defined handicap spaces. I'd almost rather.
Is there one in the parking lot by Clatter there, right? I think,
yeah,
think
every
there is.
place.
because that's a nice level spot and it's close to a lot of things, so.
And the Mechanic Street lot has the handicap
least one.
They do,
space.
actually do, I think.
And the St. Mike's has 2 spots.
I remember we did have the one complaint about somebody having to bring a handicap person down to
Yeah.
LG's, I think, and,
And
part of the
that's-
sidewalk is closed off there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We do have handicap spots in front of Sandstone, which is by 7-Eleven.
Right.
Those are defined handicap as well.
That's a good thing.
There's nothing we can do about the grade.
Right.
So, well then, do we want, so looking at some of the businesses for the 20-minute defined spots, do we want one 20-minute defined spot per block, per side, or do we want to just pick the businesses and just do those 20 minutes at the,
I think we should go back and look at the list that the 2 upstairs have and see who requested what
Okay.
before we decide on anything. And if somebody could share that with me, I would love it.
Yeah. I think we take that list, we come up with a plan. We don't have to, if we want to meet with you, Donnie and Kevin, to discuss it specifically, but then we'll share it with the whole mayor and council, make sure you all are agreeable before we take any action. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would suggest we do some type of diagram of Main Street from Water Street to Bowery and be able to pinpoint where we want all this, that everybody can see it and know what it is.
Yeah, and we can mark there's 8 spots on this block, there's 12 on this block, there's whatever, and we can, designate one by one if we have to.
Those markings will be really helpful. I've noticed like
Yeah, I
on
think that would
Water
be a
Street,
big thing to
the way
do.
people are parking
Oh,
next to
yeah.
the sidewalk,
Yeah.
it's like 3 cars taking up 4 spots.
I think, and that may be a thing we want to get done first, you know, get those
Yeah, get
dividing lines done.
designated spots.
Yes,
Yeah.
get them done first and then go with the rest of the organization. Because that'll
Especially on
give
the
us-
side streets where we know we don't have to get clearance to do it. We can
It'll give us a,
Yeah.
you know, more perspective of how many spots we actually have.
Yeah.
Do you think our guys can do the line painting, or will we need to pay someone to do the line painting?
On the
city?
sides, I think we can probably do it. On the
Okay.
state highway. it'll be-
Obviously.
They said
yeah.
they would do it.
Yeah, they'll
they
do it.
said they would do it, yeah.
Are you gonna have our guys put thermoplastic down, or are you just gonna have them paint?
For, like,
The
on
side
the side
streets.
streets,
Paint for now,
probably paint.
a lot cheaper. It'll be gone in a year, so if you don't like it.
Test it, see how we like it first.
Well, we'll start it this way.
All right, so anything else on the parking situation before we move on? Okay, next, there's been a request for a parade, military appreciation parade. Elizabeth.
Yeah, so Brian forwarded this request. It's from Sergeant Copeland, who's in the Air Force recruitment office down in LaVale. She's proposing on August 31st. This proposal includes a lot more than just the parade, but there would be just a whole military appreciation day. She's trying to work with Frostburg State University to get free football tickets to their game. I guess that might be their first game of the year, for all military and veterans. And she has proposed that there would be 3,500 people involved in this day of military appreciation, but she's requested that we would do a road closure like we do for other parades the morning of August 31st. So, because this is different, before I committed to the city resources of overtime and extra police officers potentially, but overtime for the street department, and doing the road closure permit. I just wanted to get your feedback on whether or not that's something you wanted to move forward with.
I'm a veteran, I'm all for it.
And there's nothing that conflicts with that.
So it's 2 days after the cruising, the car cruise, so this would be a Saturday morning,
So in the block parties.
The following
probably the week
Thursday.
after.
Okay,
So it's a lot happening,
around that time, yeah.
but
It's also Labor Day weekend.
Yes. Yes.
huh. Okay.
Yeah, more adult.
Can we ask them to pick a different date?
I think this might be timed with, I want to say August 31st is Military Appreciation Day.
Oh, it's like a national.
Yeah, let me Google it just to.
Do they have an I mean, is this an hour, is this 4 hours, is this?
It's August 31st.
It seems
I'm
a little
guessing
sketchy
it-
right now.
Yeah, I'm guessing it would be about an hour at best, because it's.
For the parade itself?
Yes.
And the other things that are going on
Would just be an all-day thing over on campus.
on campus. Okay.
Yeah,
So the street would only be closed for maybe 2 hours
Yeah.
altogether.
yeah.
I don't see a problem with that.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
okay, very good, thank you. Okay, under general discussion, Mayor, I do have 2 items, that I would like to add. Well, one, I forgot to put this on the agenda, but the Lions Club has done their annual tax abatement request, under the tax property article of the annotated code. So their current tax bill, they own a, storage building on property up behind Kenny Signs that's in the city limits. They don't use the building. Frostburg State uses the building to store a bunch of like the community events. All the Santa sleigh is in there, for example. So they're asking for an abatement of the taxes in the amount of $237.30 for this year. If everyone's okay with that, that would be a resolution as well. And then I just wanted to have Nick and Kevin talk about their cadet proposal.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Good afternoon again. We mentioned a few minutes ago about the possibility of our police cadet program continuing. We had one part-time police cadet for the last maybe 3 years or so, Avery Painter. Avery is advanced to the position of police recruit and is in the academy for us right now in Hagerstown. So the way we got Avery, just a little history, is she was our intern from the Career Center's criminal justice program. So she interned with us through the spring. She did a great job. So with your approval, we hired her as a part-time cadet, a contractual employee. Our latest cadet just graduated high school, our latest intern just graduated high school. He too did a great job, and it's worked really well with Avery, I think, to kind of funnel into our recruiting and have some non-sworn police officer help with different things. So we'd like to ask for your permission to continue our cadet program and hire this person part-time. Certainly I'm glad to talk with you about who it is, whether you want to do that, you know, at a closed session or whatever, but we'd like to proceed with that and give him different duties, potentially even including helping us watch the parking issue. Might be a good time with that being fresh, getting the new signs, having the cameras, and give him that job right off the bat, so that could potentially tie in very well. So just a request for your approval or objection or comments.
And part of the training that this person would get, and Avery had, they learned to run the computer system, what our system is. They learned to do the miles in the meter system on the computer. They could fill in for a dispatcher who was off because they could run the computer and everything like that. And they hit the road running when they come out of the academy. They already have all this that you would normally take weeks and weeks to train somebody. They've already got it.
That's right, yeah. Filling in dispatch. Helping with dispatch is a huge thing too. If we have somebody either planned to be off or call off sick, it's very nice to have another person in the pool that we can call in.
So you mentioned about supervising with the parking issue. Would this person be empowered to write citations or any, would have any duties like that?
Or to talk with you all about that and or maybe the city attorney, but you don't need to be a sworn police officer to issue citations under the city code. The Community Development Department does do that currently. So.
Okay.
Just Aiden's mom makes them able to do that.
Yeah. I think there are two options.
It's more official than it sounds.
Yeah, that would be great. So we could potentially get something set up like that, or we could have him do sort of the labor, review the camera, work on the technology, and then get a sworn officer, say, here's the video, take a look, here's the ticket, have it ready to go. The officer would review the footage and sign it and actually issue the citation. So I think either way would be proper and acceptable.
Yeah, I think it would work because over at the campus, they have students who watch their parking.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that we could do the same thing with this person.
Yeah, I forgot it. FSU had that program for a long time, the student ticket writer program.
And parking tickets work differently than other citations because you don't take a parking ticket to court. It just dings your MVA record. Is that right?
Good question. They do go to court. If they
Okay.
come and oppose it, then it's sent to district court, and a district
Okay.
court judge hears it.
Okay.
Almost the same as a traffic citation.
Okay, never mind.
I'm telling you, some people, it might only be once a year, but some people put on a major defense for parking tickets. They'll come in with pictures and all this stuff. I'm like, what, you know, this is serious. That's why, you know, we don't want to get the reputation or having ambiguous signage and writing tickets when we go. We want the judges to know that we are credible.
Not like Annapolis.
Yeah, I agree, and I want to see this. I want to make sure this doesn't fall, you know, between the cracks because it's July now, but it'll be November, and then it'll be, You know, it's Small Business Saturday and people are Christmas shopping and Main Street's a mess, so I, you know,
Yeah.
want to make sure that we keep this at the top of the list, or near the top.
We want to review how the position is structured as well. Like with Avery, a contract for a period of time with hours not to exceed, because if you make it like just a permanent part-time position, then we fall into this area of state retirement where we have to enroll them. So having a defined period of time and a limited number of hours, because of short staffing, Avery's hours exceeded that and they had to get special approval, but we can't get ourselves into complications with state retirement if it's just a permanent, part-time, undefined hours.
So what was it with Avery? What was it defined hours?
It was something, without looking, something like 24 hours unless the chief administrator and Elaine, the finance director, approve it,
And there's a
something like
starting
that.
date and an ending date to the term of the contract, which got extended a couple times. The state retirement will require someone to be enrolled if it's just
Yeah.
indefinitely.
If it's a permanent position.
Permanent part-time.
Yeah, well, you don't want to abuse the employees.
That's why,
Yes.
having the guide, having it set out clearly at the beginning
Yeah.
avoids question later.
Sure.
Wasn't it the city of Frostburg that changed the law that you guys didn't have to pay into state retirement anymore? You would remember that, Donnie.
Because
Yeah.
there was one commissioner who had to be enrolled because he fell in limbo in between.
I kind of remember that happening.
And then we had to go back and pay in for all the time we hadn't reported him.
Okay. Anything else?
That is all staff have, I believe.
Anything else from this side?
No.
Good. That's pretty easy. Means adjourned.
You guys have
Yeah.
John.